Hi there. Just came in on Saturday to put a quick intro on a sweet demo video that Andy sent me. I just want to give you guys some context because it's some pretty big picture stuff. So stepping back, over a decade ago, Andy and I saw a problem and solved it within context editing. Right? We were delivering clients websites that were just hard to edit. You would have to go to some back end to edit the front end, and just really counterintuitive when you were kind of expecting an experience like a word processor. So we thought up Concrete, and we started with this idea of in-context editing way back in the day, and we've made that work. Editing a site with concrete5 is easy, intuitive, and a joy to use, and I know you think that or you wouldn't be watching this video. What we're doing now is we're solving a whole new problem, and it's pretty exciting. So in the last few years, we've seen the way companies buy technology kind of changing, right? Historically, you would have some problem and you would get in bed with a big technology provider to solve that problem. And then they would start selling you other solutions, right? So maybe SAP was really great for automating your assembly line, but that was a couple of years ago, and now you're using SAP's support desk and their CRM tool, and you're kind of thinking, man, we're spending a lot of money on these solutions that this company only kind of cares about. And we've seen a lot of companies recently stop doing that. Right? There's this idea of BYOS, bring your own service or bring your own solution, and it's become easier for CIOs to say, look, we're going to use Zendesk for support, we're going to use Salesforce for CRM, we're going to use SAP for the enterprise resource planning because that's what all these folks do really well. And we're not going to get married to one technology provider. And that makes sense. Like that's great. The challenge is you kind of lose the big picture perspective, right? So if I'm an executive and I want a dashboard that lets me know how responsive are we being as a company as a whole, I can't really do that from one spot with all these different systems, right? Sometimes I've got sales requests, sometimes I've got support requests. I want to know how quickly we're answering all of them. And I'm busy. I don't want to log into 6 different systems and add it all up in my head. If I'm talent and if I'm a new hire and I don't know how to do anything, like it'd be cool to have one spot to go to figure out what I'm supposed to do and where the resources are to do it. Be nice to log in once, not many, many times. How can these different systems not just kind of link to each other with an API, but really share data in a meaningful way? How can you create workflows on top of that as data moves from one system to another? These are real problems that companies are really suffering from not having a solution for. And that's what Andy and I have been scratching our heads trying to solve with what we've been calling data objects, data types, and now Express. So let's listen to Andy show us how that works.
Express lets you create strongly typed data objects using concrete5 attributes, relate those objects to each other and to other concrete5 objects, and work with these objects programmatically. Now, the best way to really experience this is to dive in with a real-world example. Here's my empty concrete5 site. Let's say this is a building supply company, and I want to create a form that is my first point of contact for a customer. That means this form is going to receive sales requests, general feedback, support requests, and more. In the past, I would have used a standard concrete5 form block. This block is great for what it is, a quick form builder, but it doesn't really give you much ability to work with the data over time, or to empower my site's users to do advanced things with the submitted content. So instead, we're going to add the new Express form block to the page. This is a form block that is built on the new Express data object framework. And I'm going to add it to the page and configure it for my intake form. This just takes a moment, but I am going to speed through this a little bit so that we can keep on our way. When we're done, you can see a list of all the fields that we're going to be adding to this form. And then we rename our form to intake form, and we add it to the page. At this point, you've got yourself a form that looks much like the forms in earlier versions of concrete5, but with a lot more power under the hood. Now that I've created this intake form, let's actually fill it out and submit it. Now let's head into the dashboard to get the results. You'll notice that our form results area looks different. Form results now supports permissions for determining who can add or edit entries, as well as folders for grouping results. All Express entities support this, and that's what this form object is. When I created the form on the front end, I actually created an Express entity in the back end to receive the data. Here's those results for that form. So here we go. Now, how about we add some interactivity to this? Our support people love Zendesk, so how about we automatically make a ticket in Zendesk for newly created items that are set to the support type? Let's extend our system to support that. I'm going to add 2 attributes to the intake form that will be used privately, but not displayed in the front-end form. So to do that, I'm going to head into System and Settings, Data Objects, Intake Form. Let's add some more attributes. Here are all the attributes that were created when I created the form on the front end, and we're going to create a couple more attributes. Now that I've installed these attributes, I'm going to make it so they show up in the dashboard, but not on the front-end form that I've made. I'm going to do this by adding a secondary form view. I'm going to add all my attributes into this view, and I'm going to add a field set that holds our special internal attributes. Finally, I'm going to make this dashboard view the default view when viewing these items in the dashboard. I'm going to install a package with some custom code in it that's going to synchronize these submissions between our system and Zendesk. Here's my custom package, Contact Router and Contest, which contains this code here. This code runs on every page load, and you'll notice this event listener. Anytime an Express entity is saved, we check to see whether it's an intake form, and if so, we're going to get its type. And if the type is support, we're going to send that request over to Zendesk. And it really is just that easy. Let's submit the form now. And we can see, checking Zendesk, that our form submission has been found. Click through, and you can see my ticket right there. Communication is also a two-way street. Notice this ticket ID of 1540 that we've got up there, and this priority dropdown. We get that data from Zendesk, and we can actually populate it back in the Express data objects in concrete5, even on change. So if I change this to high, if I go back to my concrete5 form results, I can see that our latest submission not only has our publicly submitted data, it also has the internal data that we set up earlier, including the ticket ID and priority pulled from Zendesk. It's easy to add Salesforce integration to this event too, if the type is set to sales. And since this is an event that fires on new submissions and updates, if something was incorrectly set the first time around, setting it to support or sales from the dashboard will run the same event code and create tickets in both systems as well. This isn't just a way to do flat input and direct content to different systems. You can use this content programmatically in your concrete5 website as well. Let's explore this contest submission type. This website is running a contest where people can submit photos of finished work they've done with the company's products. I've got a picture of some beautiful work done to a skylight that I'd like to submit as part of this contest. So let's do that. And here we have a nice custom single page showing the latest entry to our contest, all powered by the same form. This is all using custom code hooking into the Express data objects. Here is the view layer for this table, and here is the controller. Everything's very easy for developers to work with. We simply just loop through all the different entries and pull out the ones based on whether they were submitted to the contest, and we print out their attributes. Any developer who's worked with concrete5's attributes will be right at home with this new framework. And that's not all. If an administrator wants to keep track of these submissions against product lines in a structured way, they can create a product entity in the dashboard and attach it using associations to the relevant form submissions. Simply add your association control to the form as well. And you'll be able to associate the product entity you just created with the intake forms that you already have. So, I've got a single system that allows unified intake of data, sends it to different third-party services, and also lets me build dynamic relational data views on a website where I can do anything I want. Management can see how well they're actually responding to all intake in a single view. And talent gets to use the system they want to use to make their lives easier.
So I think you can see that is pretty cool. You can make these objects, you can relate objects to one another, you can hook these objects into third-party tools, you could have third-party tools making these objects for you. Really, there's a tremendous amount of potential here, to the point where we're not even really sure what to do with it next. Right? We are not a huge organization. We don't have this problem. We've seen it from others, and we're eager to solve it, but we need your help. If you need an intranet, if you are looking at this and saying, yeah, Franz, like this makes sense to me, I would like you to cook something up that solves my immediate needs, I want to hear from you. Right? We know we need to do more with file management and collaboration. We want a core concrete5 install to be able to compete with SharePoint. You should be able to upload files and share them inside of the organization, do file locking and versioning and that kind of stuff. And I don't think we're that far from being able to pull that off. But what else? How can we help you build an intranet that will make your company sing? If that is the kind of problem that you have, I want to hear from you. We are looking for clients that have projects where we can build something that is truly unique and helps get this stuff off of the whiteboard and into the wild. So if any of this connects with you, if you're as excited as we are, please reach out and let me know. We would love to help you build something.